Hello everyone and welcome. Hello everyone and welcome. This is DIY SSM Skills Systems Multimedia, the Daily Conjecture Vlogcast, DCVC. I would like to be starting the content today on June 1st to see if I can potentially make a video and make content every single day for 365 days for a full year to see exactly what kind of content I'm able to make, how this can transform into hopefully something not only beneficial for me as an outlet to be able to express myself and share the ideas that come to mind. Some of them, many of them, are inspired by others. They are not my ideas. They are simply things that I'm interested in. Absolutely will be things that I do not have all the information on, all the knowledge to be able to fully encompass the entirety of the ideas that I have in mind. I very much hope to be able to bring on some other people on this channel, just in one-off interview format type of content for you to be able to get good information from professionals, right? From the pros, from the experts, those that have been studying in their fields, have been working in their fields for years and years, obviously have much more experience on some of these things that I would like to have on this channel, some of the types of content. First and foremost, I came up with the Daily Conjecture, that name, primarily because I would like it to be a vlog format, and I sort of coined the term vlogcast just to sort of combine vlog, which is a video blog, and podcast. So I will be using that term to describe what this series will be on this channel. I have ideas and plans for other series that it will just require me a little bit of time to gather the resource and materials and basically just time and money to be able to do those things down the road. Very excited, got a lot of stuff that I like to do. Just so you know exactly what I hope for the type of content to be able to include on this channel is kind of based roughly around the DIY SSM, which is Skills, Systems, and Multimedia. These are just that's the basis of how I want the channel to evolve, in the way of me being able to learn the things that I want to learn and do the things I want to do, and make sure that I have the right approach, have at least a little bit of information to get started, and then hopefully enough information to succeed. Now, just being real, a big part of succeeding is failing. Starting off, maybe not starting off super strong. All in all, there might be moments, just on my part, there might be, some more, emotional, some more nervous moments, some more unsure areas, or at least areas that that I may be a little bit more hesitant, more unsure about getting into it. But those areas specifically, the ones that start off weak, I want to absolutely, gain positive feedback and be able to excel, be able to improve on that content. So as I'm learning what all types of technologies and as far as for the devices I have at my disposal at this moment, as well as just in general, where and when I'll be able to actually make different types of content. Where I'm at now, this background here, this is not my own location. I'm just I just had reserved this space to use to be able to do this, my initial first content. And then as I've been researching and seeing a bunch of other content creators and exactly what types of or what format they're making their content, in the videos they're making, are they showing face? Are they doing the more like text on screen, or is it a combination of both? It really just depends, on the type of content. Any one of you can go on and see numerous creators just sort of being very professional in some of their work. Those that have been doing it for a long time, obviously you can go on to see some channels who are more amateur, just starting out, and then some. I feel like I've found a couple different channels who have been posting content for a few years, several years. One, I want to say he started back in like 2006 or 2008. I don't know, everything about that one individual's channel or what their intentions were with the channel, whether or not they were focusing a lot of time and energy going into the content they're creating, or whether or not it was just kind of like a side sort of gig that they just wanted to be able to do just for fun, just to express themselves and get their ideas out there. I would love for this channel, this adventure, to be a bit of both. I think primarily because it will be a vlog style content, I would like it to be as long form as possible, whilst also taking advantage of some of the short form content creation and video making as well, such as YouTube Shorts, the little Reels, Facebook Reels, Instagram, those kind of shorts, something that you might post to your story. And then the other one that I still need to, or one other one, I still need to download and learn how to use and utilize to make this, just to really run it home, drive it home, is TikTok. One that I've been hesitant to use, which many of the things I'll be doing on this channel I've never done before, so it will absolutely be an experience. And now, just real quick before we go any further, I'd like to show this video that I posted probably a month ago, and so yeah, let's go check it out. Now, something I like to say about that initial video that I made was the time after I'd been gathering all of the ideas that come to mind, just writing them down, gathering information, getting inspiration, and getting that down in my notes to start this project, start this channel. Right after I made that video, I got a call to go back to a company that I was working for before for a different position. It was going to be a better position, better pay, different field, something entirely different that I'd never done before, that I wanted to do. And so I ended up taking the job, and it was a full-time job. It was essentially a 9 to 5. It was like 7 to 3 or 4 kind of a job, just a typical in the daytime full-time job. And so as that happened, it was essentially just a decision-making moment where that's life. That is exactly life. Is do I go for this job or this opportunity, right? Someone comes to me, right? Someone calls me and says, we'd like to have you on. And then at that point, you're just like, well, what do I want to do? I very easily could have, in that moment, just said no, turned down the job, and actually, started this to follow through with that. So in my mind, I just sort of played it out and decided to take the job, and hadn't, started getting into any of this clearly. After a while, after a while doing this job, I I just started having this feeling, which I've felt before. I've absolutely felt in the past with other jobs I've had, um, even like other better jobs I've had, better paying jobs, right? Jobs in management, just stuff like that. Um, just having this feeling of like actually still kind of being unsure as to like if that's what you actually want to do. So that will be a very big and a very like for me it's going to be fun and just positive and good wholesome. For me to sort of embrace that about what I would like, or at least one thing that I would like to produce from this channel, which is simply helping other people kind of get an idea of like what kind of mindset and perspective do you have, what direction do you want to go with your life, right? What decisions are you making in this moment now, in your life that are getting you to where you want to go, to be able to meet, make your dreams come true, and whatever your goals are, hopefully they're good, wholesome goals, right? Hopefully they're realistic goals that you can attain whilst still, kind of putting little challenging moments, little challenging goals here and there. You got to throw those in there too. You got to throw those in the mix, so at least you're going the direction you want to be going with whatever your career is, whatever your goals are, and also learning. So of the few notes that I have here, just sort of in addition to the other disclaimer video I showed you, which again, me doing this and just starting off, learning the right approach, the right words, having the right sort of flow of content in the way that it makes sense from video to video, even if it is just in the vlog style of content of video making, I would still like there to be at least an amount of education or academic content involved, even if it is solely from if I'm able and great, if I'm fortunate enough to be able to get some professionals onto the channel and some kind of interview discussion type of videos, that would be amazing. Be able to actually have other voices, so it's not just my voice saying these things in a way that is just factual, right? On that note too, the reason why I chose the daily conjecture, I'll just pull up the definition of conjecture right quick. All right. So the definition of conjecture as a noun: an opinion or conclusion formed on the basis of incomplete information. Conjecture is about, here's an example that they gave just on Google. Conjectures about the newcomer were many and varied. Guess, similar words: guess, speculation, surmise, notion, belief, suspicion, presumption, assumption, theory, hypothesis. So those are a few words that are similar to conjecture. As that's what I'm calling it right now, or at least to start the series off. I don't entirely know if how the word is actually used in what may be more like in a debate kind of sense, or just kind of any intellectual. However the word is to be used correctly in itself, the word conjecture. I don't know if it's more used in a more negative manner or if it's just kind of simply matter of fact that you don't have all the information. You're forming an opinion based off incomplete information. The way I see it is I don't want to misinform, mislead, or just completely just be wrong. On that note too, because I won't have all the information, even though I do plan to at least do some amount of research to be able to make it substantial content, accurate content, try to throw in an example or two of how these ideas sort of play out, what exactly it looks like. And then, but yeah, I'm more than welcome. But I am more than willing to listen and hear people out, try to actually have a better understanding of something. And then, if I, say something incorrect, inaccurate, or wrong, or maybe I'm not exactly on the right train of thought with something, maybe I missed the point, right? Then by all means, I absolutely want that feedback as well. And on that note, brings us to kind of the first rule of the channel, is simply a question. The question to be asked is helpful or hurtful? Are you being helpful or are you being hurtful? And then kind of the same thing too, you can have this approach when engaging others, right? So from you to me, absolutely the content I'm putting out, is it being helpful or hurtful, right? Because this day and age, the internet age, right? We have access to all kinds of information. It's so easy for us to become misled, misinformed by inaccurate or otherwise just wrong information, which again, that absolutely is a form of conjecture, basing an opinion, forming an opinion off incomplete information that inevitably leads to a harmful outcome, and that's what I don't want. So I will be as mindful and as thoughtful and as forthright as I can be to enable success and to provide quality information, or at least just quality content, even if some of the things I talk about are speculation, are absolutely just conjecture, assumptions, theories, right? I would absolutely love to, love for, the development of a type of community of sorts for you to be able to engage, again, in a helpful manner, right? Not harmful, not hurtful. Good, respectful manner, and it's very likely that some of the things that are touched on in some videos will be repeated in other videos later in and out of this series. But primarily, I would like this series to be in the format of a vlog, where I'm able to just simply express my thoughts and ideas, and again, hopefully try to connect with some of you out there, and then as I go about this and learn how to improve, how to make this actually substantial content and make it worthwhile, make it educational, or at least entertaining or motivating, so it's all going to be very it's all very exciting. I'm looking forward to it. And the next note I put is embrace the evolution, or if you don't like that word as much, experience. Now, me embracing this as an experience, as an adventure, moving forward, and as I said before, making this, essentially what I'm doing is making this my 9 to 5. I decided to call it quits with the other job after working with them for a little while, and it's because I want to do this now. And the job I do have, which is a job I work on the weekends, at the moment is paying for my health and wellness needs. I'm not going hungry. It is, it's helping me at least take care of the bills and expenses I have, which at the moment are relatively low. I have relatively low expenses. So all in all, me embracing this experience is shaping myself to be able to do the things that I want to do, especially the more hands-on things down the road that I absolutely need to learn, new skills, just get a little more hands-on with some of the kind of trade stuff, some of the construction type of skills that I'd like to learn. Once again, this is the internet age. We have access to so many different learning opportunities, so much different content and videos and articles and things that we can go and look up, how to do things, how it works, what the expected outcomes and results are, and then be able to compare those results to maybe different methods, getting into like a specific field in the industry. If we're talking about businesses, trying to get those numbers pulled up, seeing what they're doing, how it's working, what's working better for them. Because of some creators I'm following, probably one super more notably one being Gary V, who has absolutely been a figure that has, on one hand, gotten a lot of flack and gotten, probably a lot of negative feedback. But from what I've seen from the positive feedback that he gets, and at least the things that he talks about and how he words things, and just his emphasis on utilizing social media as a very, very powerful tool to further your business, is all very interesting to me. I'd love the chance to be able to make some content about that, and again, absolutely looking forward to being able to interview people as well, those that can provide some other possibly more informed input than myself, at least in this current state. So the sooner I'm able to do that, the better. I think that would absolutely kick off this channel tremendously, so I look forward to that very much as well. The next thing on the list is not trained, just interested. As I said before, at this moment, this is entirely new to me. And whatever I lack in experience and maybe professional knowledge, professional training, I believe that the desire I have to learn is fueling me. The interest I have is fueling me up, is firing me up in a very good way so that I'm able to learn these things, and again get different perspective. If we're talking about business and there's an industry or like a business model that I don't understand, and I'm like, why don't they just do it this way? So if it's like, this is how they've been doing it this whole time, this is generally how it works, these are what possibly some other people are trying to incorporate, kind of like we said, just like social media and how much that has helped businesses grow and really further them in this climate, in this business climate that we're in. Next on the list is hobby to profession, sort of going back, riding on the last one. This is absolutely starting off as something I want to do, get into, and hopefully have it grow and potentially branch out, and me be able to figure out exactly how I'm able to have this as a media group provide content, informative in that kind of form of media product, that sort of content. If there's any kind of physical product, and then eventually exactly what kind of services and other methods of bringing in revenue to help support the channel. It's because of some of the multimedia stuff that I want to do, especially if I'm able to incorporate some like reaction type content. Like I have a friend right now who we've discussed it before, doing like music, movie, TV reactions, and then eventually getting into some gaming, providing some gaming content as well. I personally have a list of games that I'd like to be able to make that into its own series, and then just kind of get it into these different things that I want to do with, like, give it all you got, put your best foot forward, and provide produce as much content as you can in those fields. Go to look at the numbers on YouTube, see where your views are at, see what it's looking like month to month as you start getting bigger and bigger, getting more views, seeing which content is getting the most, and then potentially spending, and then having that extra focus in each of those individual fields or niches, as is the term used to describe what type of content you're creating. So all in all, starting off with this more vlog type of format, and then getting into some other stuff as I'm able to. Also, the other thing too, as I'm learning how to edit videos and make it content where I'm not saying the same things over and over in the same video, repeating myself. So that will also be something. And if this actually never makes it to the video, then at least I'll see it and know that it's something that I want to focus on. So all in all, should be good learning experience. The next one on the list is educate and motivate. I kind of said that already before. I would like the content to be, informative, educational, or if at the very least, entertaining and possibly motivating as well. Next on the list is supply and demand, infinite content, which, as I said before, we can look up many different things on the internet. So at that point, how I see it is simply, like, in a general sense of how we buy and sell, right? Even if it's simply giving someone attention, right? We are selling that person our attention. And I'd also like to be able to sort of go down, I'd like to make a video on the time is money idea. I have seen some other creators argue against this. One in particular that I remember seeing recently was incorporating some scripture. And on that note, I think as of right now, where I stand on, like, talking about more complicated things, such as religion and politics, those areas of conversation, tend to be more well thought out, or preferably are more well thought out, as opposed to simply listening to someone such as myself say this is what I think about religion and politics, whatever, certain individuals, this and that, certain choices, and then of course you have you're always going to have people that are for and against something, what they believe in. I believe people base their belief system off their life experiences. How they experience it, how they feel in that exact moment, affects a lot. So on that note, as hesitant as I am to discuss certain things, religion and politics, those two are the big ones. I still find it interesting. I still, in fact, I'm interested in it, and would still love the opportunity to be able to discuss with others, whether that be in an interview discussion type video where it is me and another individual or other individuals, and just simply engaging with my viewers, and what all ideas and how you might feel about something. As long as you're being helpful, as long as you're coming about it in a way that is, trying to learn and be understanding, then there will be no, I mean, that way all parties involved can hopefully learn something. The next thing on the list, producer versus consumer. This is kind of just like the mindset, the difference in mindset of a producer versus a consumer. Probably the majority, or at least, maybe I just speak for myself in saying I absolutely spent a substantial amount of my younger life with that consumer mindset. I suppose the one probably main thing that gave me a more of a producer mindset was being a musician. I started playing guitar when I was a kid, probably 8, 9, 10 years old. I had learned probably like the basic chords from my mom, who taught me, and then I think I might have learned one or two other things from our neighbor friends who played, and then eventually just sort of just kept playing and just started messing around, playing around, learning things. And that actually developed inside me as what I there's always some musical melody or riff or something, progression of some sort, like going in my mind. So like that way I might just be going about my day, I might be at the job, and then I'll just start thinking of something, either a song that already exists or just trying to think and conjure up, a riff, or like if I have something in my mind, I'm like, wow, that sounds cool. Like, let me play that out a little bit more, and just kind of repeat it in my head and sort of work on it a little bit, and then later go to an instrument to actually produce something. So on that note too, because I would love to be able to, I'm wearing a band t-shirt, as you can see, so because I would love to be able to explore that road as well with the music that I have, the riffs that I have, the recordings that I've had for years that I've done nothing with, never made into complete songs, never produced, anything like that. I would love the chance to be able to have that, probably, if not on this channel, an associate channel, an affiliate, that would be strictly music. Otherwise, whatever kind of music content that does appear on this channel will be in its own, kind of sub-series, its own playlist. So that should be super fun as well. Not just because I want to put out the music I have, but again, in the way of like the blog and talking discussions, being able to bring other people onto the show for interviews, I would love to be able to collaborate with other musicians as well at some point. So we'll see how that goes. And before I go any further, I absolutely want to say, like, this is, as far as like the niches, there are several that I'm interested in. There are several that I would like to be able to do content on, which is why I think starting this as a media group, hopefully I can encompass all this different material for each of these niches into coherent, consistent content, be able to put out stuff, and then eventually probably cut out little bits of these longer videos where I am just talking, letting out the ideas, getting those little segments into their own niches, their own files, and their own folders, their own playlists, their own areas, so everything makes sense and everything is enjoyable for each of my viewers. That way, if maybe some of my viewers don't really care about the music I make, but maybe they can get some value out of some of the vlogs, some of the discussions, then that would be amazing, and vice versa. If no one cares what I have to say for my just kind of vlog style content, but they happen to like some of my music and want to go and look through and see what kind of music I have, that's amazing too. So I understand that I'm aware that it is potentially much, much harder to grow a fan base quickly if you're all over the place with many different topics. I understand that it's probably preferred to stick with one or two or maybe three different niches. That way people can associate your channel with those three things, which is why I want to start off with the vlogs and discussions. That way I can get this content out first. A lot of the topics come in the form of questions, just because that's how I sort of was working on it. Like, there are questions in there that are as simple as, are you a good worker? Are you a good person? Do you have a true understanding of what love really is, what it looks like? Some things that might be more difficult, more broad, maybe a little vague. And I mean, ultimately, if I go through this content and get to the point where it's like, are you a good person? Are you a good worker? Might be the topic for that discussion. If it is simply, at the end of the day, like we have, depending on how you're raised, depending on what values you develop in your early years, through childhood and teenage years, and then just what decisions you make, and then what decisions others make around you. Maybe, somebody that didn't share those values with you hurt you, and then you're going to question that. But you have to understand that individual didn't necessarily have the same upbringing as you. They don't necessarily share the same values. They might have different fears, right? So it could, for some of these subjects, some of the discussions, I guess, in the vlogs, could very well be subjective, very, very much just a matter of perspective and how your upbringing has affected who you became, what type of person you have become. The next one on the list here is create to succeed. Action to promote motivation, not the other way around. I think I got that I may or may not have gotten that from Gary Vee or one of the other entrepreneur, content creator, motivation types. Create to succeed. I guess on that note too, being influenced by other creators on YouTube, having, on that, kind of going back to producer versus consumer, having that consumer, the viewer side of it, over the years, like literally being on YouTube for years, right? At this point, has just kind of culminated into sort of understanding, seeing how people, operate, and just how they act, what their internet persona is, or just their internet presence, I guess, internet personality, right? So that's an interesting thing as well. But yeah, so with this, create to succeed, I will be creating content, like I said, right now, I want to see what I'm able to do if I have a piece of content put out every day, starting today, June 1st, 2023, for a whole year, going to June 1st, 2024, and then eventually, hopefully being able to put something, some amazing content out on that note too, in anniversary style. Obviously a lot easier. It's easier said than done. Right now it's anything can happen within a year's time. So me thinking that far ahead, I'll worry about that when I get to it. But for now, I can focus on perfecting myself, hopefully perfecting my craft with just this video making and the gear I have, This is a laptop that I'm on right now, a Chromebook. It's an older model Chromebook, the Acer Chromebook 15. So it's definitely an older model. I do have a cell phone that I use, and then another one that I still have, this old phone, which I actually just paid this off. This is an old Samsung Galaxy phone. It has a decent camera. It is got probably half, if not more than half, of my recordings, a whole bunch of riffs, the stuff that I've been working on since I moved out here to the Midwest last year, and it's got much more stuff on it. I actually ended up paying this phone off just recently. I haven't, I'm another big part of this channel will be me sort of incorporating this kind of responsible, sort of developing those traits. For the times that I have felt very responsible in my life were more like in the workplace, so that I know that if I'm on the job, I know that I'm going to try to be responsible and professional, do the job right, and provide a good service or product, right? But out of the workplace, I haven't felt as much of a sense of urgency. So I suppose that doing this content will absolutely give me a sense of urgency, help me kind of build up a little bit better sense of just general self responsibility, self-respect, by all means. That could potentially be another thing that has kept me from doing the things that I want to do, just in general in life. Kept me sort of on the back burner of life and just kind of been observing the things that are around me. So that should be very, very, very interesting too. I'm looking forward to seeing the evolution on that as well. The next one is communicate and connect. I often wonder, this is a little bit more of like, well, okay, so for this content specifically, communicate and connect, I want to be able to, communicate in a reasonable fashion, not, all the time. I can't make promises that I'll answer every comment, like anything like that. I absolutely do not promise to do that. But on that note, learning how to communicate results in connection. Like, we as humans, all of us humans on some level, have a desire to connect with other human beings as well. How do you do that? What does that look like? Generally speaking, you learn how to communicate in a fashion that enables you to connect with others. You as the viewer watching me will not connect with me if I lack communication skills, right? If I lack however you perceive my, overall personality to be, if I'm, just plain boring, right? Or uneducated, just all the above, to the point where it's like I'm not communicating it well enough, or communicating the ideas I have, or just the wants I have, the interests I have, what I want to do. Then on that note, that's where the disconnect will be. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully communicating on my part, and then making that connection to you, the viewer, throughout this journey. Because that's exactly what this is going to be. It is exactly going to be a journey. I hope to keep myself humble and be very, very mindful of the things that are being said and the approach, and so yeah, it should all be very good. Engage with respect is next on the list. Kind of going back to my initial rule, sort of, helpful or hurtful? Are you engaging with respect? If I'm sure that there'll be some things that there are many things that I don't know. So in that way of giving me feedback, if it's negative feedback, that's fine. Like, we all need positive and negative feedback. We need both. So like, we need to know if we're going in, most of us want to know if we're going in the right direction. I mean, with this, there's really no way of knowing, right? There's no way of knowing if I can follow through and post a video or post content every single day. I mean, especially with something like this, the vlogcast, it should be very interesting to see how it plays out on the daily. And as I learn, what all different platforms I want to use, right now I know for sure that I'm starting with 3: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But then right now I plan to have 3 to go, like 3 more, 1 to go with each of those 3. So the additional one to Facebook is LinkedIn. The additional one to Instagram will be TikTok, most likely. The additional one to YouTube will be the podcast, because they kind of I want them to go hand in hand in that way, where if you're not actually on YouTube watching the video, you're on Spotify or whatever platform, I'm able to do the same content in audio form minus video, essentially. So those two will go hand in hand for, again, maximum views, maximum potential for views, I should say. And that's the other interesting thing too, right? To not have that mentality of how many views am I going to get, how many subscribes and likes, right? Well, I mean, technically the views are more important than the likes and subscribes. Technically, that is, like, if you're trying to be monetized. So that's my understanding. But otherwise, do the content, make it sincere, make it entertaining, or educational or motivational, and just hope for the best. You'll get people. So that's going to be another really big thing that I'm looking forward to. To be honest, is I'm looking forward to engaging with other creators, getting advice from them, and just maybe eventually getting to that point where hopefully, after I've been doing it for so long, again, that's why having this daily content for a year goal of mine right now is super crucial, for not only for me to be able to develop this channel, but for me to gather this information of just what does it look like, being your own boss, so to speak, and creating your own content and improving on that content. And I'm sure, just as many other content creators will say, just to put out the content. On that note too, though, I still do see some that want to kind of debate this quality versus quantity idea, which I would very much like to make a video on. I foresee that in the future of this channel as well. So that'll be fun. That'll be very good as well. The next one is nothing to something, and I put in parentheses the dawn of man. Think about, like, over the course of just the dawn of man, like having started off, either Neolithic or Paleolithic, starting off as a much more simplified version of the version of the Homo sapien that we have today. That's what we are. What did that look like? What did that transition look like? Was it thousands of years? Like, was it hundreds of years, thousands of years before they could learn these things, like from the hunter-gatherer age to the farming and growing your own food and cultivating, right? from that to that, what did that transition look like? Probably very similar and with some differences between the civilizations of those times. And then just to this day, like at what point have we gotten today where we might have lost some of the things that we're more focused on back in those times? What have we lost? What have we gained? We've gained technology, certainly, but even then, people still. I see a lot of content on what technology looked like in ancient times. One of the last pieces of content I saw was a natural air conditioning system that was being used with no electricity, clearly, back hundreds or thousands, I guess, of years ago. I'm going to look that up and try to include that video in the description. If I can pull that video up, I will include the link to that video in the description of this video. But yeah, so that idea of going from nothing to something, and just looking at it in the one individual's life, looking at it in my life, I've thought about that. Just having that feeling of having those lows in your life where you feel like nothing's going on, you're not really doing a whole lot. You might be working a job and paying your bills, but then you still feel like it's getting monotonous. You're not really sure what you're actually doing. What is your purpose? And on that note too, I at this point right now, I strongly do believe that, my purpose is for much more sort of self, a lot of self-made people out there, who started with nothing, right? And they worked themselves, they built themselves up, they surrounded themselves with people who cared about them building themselves up, who were able to feed off that energy, feed off that positive. Energy is crucial, is amazing. I mean, just in some of the jobs that I've worked, I've told some of my coworkers that the job I'm at now, I've told some of the people I work with that I feed off of their teamwork energy in those moments where things are moving fast and you're trying to get stuff out in a timely manner and you're trying to make sure your guests are pleased. It's once you're feeding off that energy, like that positive teamwork energy from someone, they're helping you, they're helping other people, and you start doing that, you're like, yeah, I really want to I really want things to run smoothly, right? Everyone's doing their job individually, but then they're able to help each other at the same time. It just elevates it. It just heightens, the level of the work atmosphere, right? So that's something I'll absolutely touch base on later. Pretty much, I don't know, I see all these things as potential separate pieces of content. So, and then let's see. The next one on the list is tools and resources. Now, I don't claim to have coined this term. It very well may likely have come from someone else. In the event that it hasn't been exactly worded like this, something I like to say and something I like to have in mind is your resources are only as good as your resourcefulness. So the things that are at your disposal, the things that are around you, they're not going to do you any good if they're just sitting there, if they're being untended to. You go to plant seeds in the ground. I mean, depending on what it is, depending on what region you're at, what the climate is, how when in terms of growing food, right? How much rainfall, right? How much sun. So I guess depending on what it is, but all in all, if you're not tending to it, you're not continuously making sure that it's okay, there's the chances of it not doing so well are very high, because You're not maintaining it. You're not cultivating it in a way that is promoting success. You're not setting up for success. So knowing what tools and resources you have at your disposal, one of them being the internet, of course, is huge. Like, just keeping that in mind, that way you'll never feel, in the times where you start feeling stuck, that's where you need to go out and look for those resources, those tools, to get you further to where you want to be, reach your goals faster. And on that note too, it's not just about faster, right? Because you do want to have a good approach, and kind of follow things through. With buying land, if you want to build on it, then you need to make sure you know what the laws and regulations for the county or the state, region, province, right, for other countries and so on. Knowing what the regulations are, that's you doing your due diligence, before you go into it. And I suppose on that note too, me doing my due diligence for this channel will be, doing my best to follow YouTube guidelines, just making sure that I am aware and knowledgeable on that, to avoid any kind of unnecessary breaks or pauses in the channel, or otherwise any other unfortunate things that could happen from that. So that'll be another interesting thing too. A few more, and then we'll wrap this up here. Purpose and intent. I've touched base on at least asking that question: what is my purpose? So with this channel, like I said, I want it to evolve into what I'm able to do now, into the things that I want to do that I'm not entirely able to do now. I need to learn more skills. I need to acquire a few more things. I need to make a few more ends meet before I can do probably a good half of the other content that I have planned. One of them being the music. So that'll be interesting. Basically just having a space that has power, that I'm able to set up my complete instrument setup and start kind of getting into some more music stuff. So until then, it'll mostly be this content, with some other projects potentially, in music and games and some other things. So it should be fun. Attitude and approach. I skipped intent. Well, so with purpose and intent. So intent is like kind of how they say it's not how. Well, one thing to think about is how it's been said. It's not what your intention is as much as it is how they perceive it. The one where I've heard that is like harassment. So like, it's not what you intended. Like if you were just joking around and you say something in a jokingly manner, but it ends up being received by that person as harassment. And then because of how that played out, it doesn't matter what your intention was. So that will absolutely make an interesting video as well. But just so I can reiterate what my intention is for this channel, is it for it to be fun, motivational, maybe educational or informative, and yeah, just overall entertaining and wholesome content. This is my outlet. I would very much love for this to be my outlet in which I'm able to get myself out there, and do the things I want to do, learn the things I want to learn, and eventually be at the place where I can sort of do this full scale kind of operation to where it's the media group in and of itself with all these different fun and interesting things that are all created by healthy and wholesome individuals, and then some other, more technology and tools oriented sort of content as well, whereas simply just us as the human being going and using these tools to, maybe even just for the sake of experimentation, which also fascinates me as well. So that is my intent. And then going to the next one, attitude and approach, is me doing the best that I can to maintain a positive attitude, have a good mind, just develop my perspective, develop my mindset to be be at a standpoint of intrigue and just interest and just, for the sake of discussion, for conjecture's sake, right? For speculation, to work things through, to hash things out, come to solutions of problems. That's a big thing with attitude, right? If you're unaware that you're expressing yourself in a manner that is projecting a problem into the open world to others, without that sort of next step of what's the solution to this, it can be very hurtful, right? It can be, you can be projecting negative energy out into the world if you're not, mindful about it, if you're not careful. And then approach, sort of once more, kind of riding on the back of that. If you change the way you think to ask the next question, what do I do about this? What is the solution or a possible solution? If you don't know, maybe you just need to try something, right? That's not harmful to others. If you're taking out your anger on others, that's not a solution. That's not a healthy solution. That's not a solution that is going to further you in the direction that you want to go. And again, hopefully, you're able to develop some more positive and productive goals than just make money, right? Because let's be honest, I think everyone on the planet wants that at some point in their life. They would like a little bit, at least enough to live off of. Those less fortunate than us, they want it, they need it to be able to live off. They need the smallest amount to be able to make their ends meet. So all sorts of content that can be spawned off of just that one idea. So the next one is overcoming fear and fear of judgment, which, if you want to just kind of simplify it down and just say, how do you overcome fear? I'd like to know. If you have any ideas or any ways that help you overcome fear, go ahead and leave a comment in the video below. Fear of judgment, let's be honest, that's absolutely been present. Speaking for myself, that's absolutely been present in my mind in the past. It still might be a little bit to this point, me making this first video, but essentially, if I want to see my vision come to life, I must first act and then gather feedback, right? Act and produce. Then you're going to gather feedback. You will. Like literally a completely different job I was doing, a few months ago. It was less of a job and it was more of like a self-made kind of opportunity to where it was like, it was a warm lead sales type of position. It was not your traditional sales position to where you're doing cold calls, which I don't have experience with. Is just that one opportunity that I was going to get into. I decided to no longer pursue it. it seemed to, it just didn't, I guess for lack of better words, it just didn't feel right. It just didn't seem like what I should be doing, how I should be spending my time. I'd ended up posting about it on social media. I ended up making a post to like sort of advertise it, and I'd only gotten, this isn't the reason why I quit doing it, but it sort of like kind of made it clear, or at least made me question it. It didn't necessarily make it clear that it was a no-go. It just made me question it to the point where, again, all about making choices. Is this how I want to spend my time? The comment was like a negative feedback comment saying, "I'm not sure if this is what we need right now." That's one individual. That's one opinion. Essentially, they weren't being hurtful about it. They were just saying, "I'm not sure if this is what the industry needs right now. I'm not sure if this is going to be the most fruitful." Right. So that's another interesting thing too. How you take feedback, how you take positive feedback, but even more so how you take negative feedback, right? I'd said this to a coworker once before. Again, I don't necessarily claim ownership or anything like that, or that I came up with it at all. Like, it's just something I thought of. In trying times, your true self shines. It's one thing when things are going good, your life's going good, you got everything, you got your ducks in a row, you paid your bills, you got food in the fridge, you got, your loved ones are cared for, everything's good in the hood. But what happens when things go bad? Then what type of person are you? Are you going to keep your cool? Are you going to take your anger out on others? So that's something else as well. Potential whole nother video on that. The next one is being a positive influence. Kind of riding off that last one. Don't take your anger out on others. Be a positive influence in the way of actually trying to come up with reasonable and sound, wholesome, healthy solutions that, if they don't completely stop or mitigate the problem, you're at least, you're getting there, right? Like people who have addictions, I've struggled with an addiction a time or two in the past, and actually starting this content is and will be me substituting a possible is drinking. So I mean, I'm not entirely sure how it's played out in my life, like in its entirety, like me on and off having these kind of periods of drinking. But I can absolutely say that I've experienced more negative experiences that lead to relationships ending, falling out of friends, that kind of thing. So I absolutely have experienced the negative side effects of, I suppose what you would say is just simply not being in control, not controlling your, whatever it is, drinking, your habits, allowing that vice or otherwise, pleasurable experience, temporary experience, mind you. It doesn't, it might last for a night, and then in the case of drinking, you wake up with a hangover. So it's like, but the reason why I bring that up, yes, it's there is a certain level of shame to it, but that's why me starting now, doing what I need to do to stop that, or at least give it a rest, give it a break, sort of just, focus less time and money, because let's be honest, that is exactly what's happening, is me, that's you choosing to spend money on it. So doing this is my way of doing something good, something better, something more positive and productive than, just me pleasing myself, essentially. Me just feeling good about myself, getting a bit of a buzz, whatever, right? So that is absolutely a big part of it as well. So yeah, be a positive influence, and just be mindful. Be mindful of how your actions, how your words and your actions affect others, and just do your best to improve yourself. I think that's probably one of the biggest responsibilities that any one individual has. I mean, even children at a certain age start sort of developing that, like, is this good or bad, and should I do this or that? How should I respond and treat people and act people? With the help of parents, of course, their guardians, how they're raised, that all influences decision making. Your how you develop your sense of morals, right? So, all very interesting. The last and very not least note I have for this, my first video for you all, is create and engage the community. I put in parentheses online community, especially for something like this, where I can't guarantee any specific engagement on my part. Again, as I'm still learning how to communicate, how to gaining new skills, learning how things work, right? Learning my approach, gaining perspective, gaining knowledge, knowing the tools and the resources and the know-how is going to help me produce content for you so that we can all benefit in the end. So that concludes today's video. And kind of last but not least is, I guess, a bit of a little extra, is one sneak peek to a series that I can't say will be daily necessarily. Not, at least not until I get to that point where the other, like, about 50% of the content I'm able to do that is more hands-on, and I'm in a space that enables me to do that. But for now, we will just do this quick little activity to wrap up the video. So thank you all for watching. I look forward to seeing how this journey is going to play out, and I look forward to seeing how many different, hopefully positive kind of input I can get from this. Any advice that you have as far as, like, utilizing any one of these social media platforms to its utmost potential for maximum output and maximum views, and just maximum, anything else that will help me make this the best experience for all of us involved, please let me know. Until then, see you next time, and I hope you enjoy the outro. This is another series that I would love to be able to do. It really just encompasses around one brand, one company that I've loved since childhood, and I'd love to be able to make it into its own series. So to start this off, I will be unboxing or unbagging this. Is Doctor Strange. I got this a little while ago. I've been wanting, there are a few sets that I've been wanting to unbox. The ones that I have specifically right now at this moment, the ones that I have are this one, another minifigure set, and then another set that has two really awesome minifigures, all Marvel. At least these three that I want to do are Marvel anyway. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what this finished build looks like here. I don't want to rip the bag too much because it will be going back into the bag. Interdimensional portal. I did see the first Doctor Strange movie long ago when it came out. Well, I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I absolutely loved that movie. It was one of my favorites. I did not see the sequel, Multiverse of Madness, I think is what it's called. So there are actually a handful of videos. A handful of movies, I should say. A handful of Marvel movies. I did that wrong. You're supposed to put his cape on first. Come on now. He ain't Doctor Strange without the cape. Well, actually, the cape... I know the cape is... I don't actually remember entirely. Oh, and I haven't actually, like I didn't read the comics as a kid either, so I'm not, super savvy or anything on exactly what, all the lore is or anything like that. But no, I did see the first Doctor Strange movie. I loved it. Let's see, this... Oh, wait, that's not the right one. So on that note too, that's why it would be a good opportunity to potentially get into some reaction stuff if possible. I think that would be amazing. Between me and the person that I've been talking to that would also potentially want to do the movie and TV reaction series, there are several titles, not in the Marvel or DC universe, but just other titles in general that we've talked about that they haven't seen that I have seen, that I think would be pretty cool to be able to do that. So we'll see. Otherwise, if it does just come down to me individually, by myself doing things, as far as reaction goes, then I would absolutely love to be able to react to the Marvel and DC movies that I've never seen, because there are quite a bit that I haven't seen. I watched the first Avengers movie. I think I watched the second one, but I don't remember anything about it. So it might even just and it's been so long too, since I've seen any of them. So it might even I think the last one I saw was man, it's been a while either way. I actually don't quite remember which last one. So it might even be good to just kind of do all of them. I suppose maybe the first Iron Man, or maybe the first or second Iron Man, because I love those. So perhaps those were the last ones that I saw. But yeah, so that actually could very well be a good series to do there. Some of these pieces you don't see a lot, or at least not often. These pieces right here are pieces that I see very rarely. Cool little pieces to put on top there. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Okay. Cool portal pieces. I should probably mention also, the other day I went to Denny. I hadn't been to Denny's in a while. I got up, I wanted to get some breakfast, and I had those breakfast skillets that they serve there at Denny's on the mind, and they're really good with sausage and peppers, eggs, onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, just really good. I had it in mind to go by and get one of those for breakfast. So I looked up where the Denny's was, and I saw it on there. I went to actually give him a call, and no one answered. It basically went to some type of automated message, and then eventually just cut off, eventually just hung up. And I was like, and I did that twice. I basically was just calling to make sure that they were actually open, or just to verify the location essentially. no answer, so I ended up just going down there. And yeah, it was completely different restaurant. They had closed. They'd been closed for a little while, and it was completely closed. So I was like a little bummed out, but then I ended up making my way back, and there was a Taco Bell, so I ended up stopping there to get breakfast. And behind it, in the shopping plaza, was in fact a Bricks and Minifigs, which was super cool. What am I missing here? Oh, that's what I'm doing. I did that wrong. There we go. All right. Well, that is essentially the complete set. Pretty cool. Obviously, Doctor Strange, super cool. Let's see. Maybe I'll just hold it up so you can kind of see. Actually, I guess I can just put him. Can I just put him on here? Yeah, there we go. Pretty cool. Pretty cool set. Pretty straightforward. Doctor Strange, super cool. Once again, I didn't see the sequel, and there's plenty other of the Marvel, DC, and just plenty of other movies and TV that I'd like to be able to see. A couple that are in the making of as of right now, June 2023, that I'm looking forward to seeing come out as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next video.